All right, second semester exam review for geometry. We start with properties of parallelograms and some other shapes. So what I tried to do here was write out the properties that we'll be using in this section, and then we will use them in the different examples. And I tried to do that throughout the review. So 1 through 3, it says solve for x. Each figure is a parallelogram. Well, in this first one, these two angles are considered or are consecutive angles. So we see down here that consecutive angles are supplementary, which means they add up to 180 degrees. So we can just write a little equation, 134 plus 4x minus 2 equals 180. And we can go ahead and solve. So we'll combine our like terms here. So we have 4x plus 132 equals 180. We will go ahead and subtract 132 from both sides. And we get 4x equals 48. Dividing both sides by 4, we get x is equal to 12. Now, when you get that answer, you can plug it back in and make sure it works. So 4 times 12 minus 2, that's 48 minus 2 is 46. And then 134 plus 46 does equal 180. So x equals 12 is our answer for number 1. Sliding over to number 2, these are opposite angles. And we see that opposite angles are congruent, which means they're equal to each other. So we can write 9x plus 21 is equal to the opposite angle, 120. And we just solve, so we subtract 21 from both sides, leaving us with 99. So 9x equals 99. Divide both sides by 9. And we get x equals 11. Again, you can plug it in. 9 times 11 plus 21. That's 99 plus 21 is, in fact, 120. So that is correct. Last example from this section has opposite sides. And we see that opposite sides are parallel and congruent. Well, these are the lengths of the sides, so these two have to be equal to each other. This one probably doesn't take right in the equation, but we can write an equation. X plus 3 equals 10. Obviously, we can just think, oh, what? Plus 3 equals 10, and it's 7. You also could subtract 3 from both sides, but either way, you get x equals 7. These next two deal with the idea that in a trapezoid, the mid-segment is the average of the bases. They use the term median here. So median and mid-segment. I believe your book uses mid-segment, but here it says median. Sorry about the confusion there. And what we know about the mid-segment or the median is that it goes through the midpoint of these sides. And we learned a couple things. We learned that it's parallel to the third side, the other two sides, and it's the average. So all we're going to do here is find the average. So question mark, the median or mid-segment is equal to the average. Well, how do you find the average? Add those two things together, and you divide by 2. So that's 13.2 divided by 2, and you can divide that on a calculator or off to the side, and we get 6.6. Next one's the same idea. We know that the question mark will be the average. So 11 plus 6.6 divided by 2. Well, that's 17.6 divided by 2, which is 8.8. So that's what you do for those questions. And getting down to the bottom of the page, state the most specific name for each figure. So these are quadrilateral, so you need to make sure you know your different quadrilateral definitions. This first one, number 6, all sides are congruent and all angles are 90. So it is a type of rectangle and it's a type of rhombus, but more specifically, this one is a square. Because we want to put the most specific name. Number 7, we have right angles, and we have that the sides are not congruent. So a rectangle is a parallelogram with 4 right angles. And so this is a rectangle. Number 8 doesn't have anything special about it. It almost, and I don't have kite written over here, but it almost looks like a kite, but nothing is marked. So nothing's marked, so no sides are necessarily congruent, no angles are congruent, nothing's marked as parallel, so this is just a quadrilateral. Number 9, those arrows mean that those segments are parallel, so we have 2 pairs of parallel sides, and that is a parallelogram. It doesn't have right angles. It doesn't have congruent sides, or all sides congruent, so it's just a parallelogram. Number 10, we just have one set of parallel sides, which makes it a trapezoid. Trapezoid, a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. In fact, though, it's a more specific type of trapezoid because we see that these segments are congruent, and we call that an isosceles trapezoid. Now, number 11 probably should go with the next page, but here it is on the first page. Define area. Well, area is the number of square units. Square units, that's very important. It takes to cover a region. All right, so the number of square units it takes to cover a region. So page 1 is complete.